Alrighty, this is actually a pretty cool lab. This is going to be 5-minute code lab 5Y, looking at text colors. So let's look at the coding part. So you've already utilized some colors in changing the text by utilizing the ANSI color set of text. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a loop basically to print out the different sets of colors. So this is basically the format as you've seen us utilize in some coding projects. And what we're going to do is break it down and see how this actually works. So the /033 is going to be a decimal space sequence, so it knows that we're going to be utilizing some additional characters there. And this particular syntax, this is the interesting part, this is going to be numeric values, integer values only, setting up for the attribute, the foreground color, and the background color. So that's what corresponds to each of these components there. Now if we take a look at what the attributes and the colors actually mean. So these are the different sets of attributes, 0 being normal, bold, faint, italic, underline, reversed, concealed, and then a strike through. And then we have our foreground colors, and then we have background colors. What we're going to do is I'm going to create a loop, and we're going to go through the attributes. We're going to go through the foreground colors. I'm not going to utilize anything below, anything above basically this 47 value, so I'm not going to utilize the higher values. So it's going to be a nested loop. So when we're at attribute 0, we want the foreground color to be black and then run through this. Once that's done, we're going to have this as normal, this as red now, and then run through this. Normal, and then we'll go green, and then run through this. So on and so forth. So you can see why we're going to have a nested loop. Now I'm going to introduce some concepts that we're going to learn a little bit later on, but it's part of the code and in the code. Let me quickly explain of what's going on in the coding part. Now for this one, I don't have any functions that I'm utilizing. This one's just a quick and simple lab. So in this section where I'm identifying variables, so I have my attribs, my foreground color, and my background color. And what I'm doing here is I'm creating a list. Technically it's not a list, it is a dictionary type of configuration. So I have my numeric value, and then I have a word that corresponds to this. So you could see the syntax. So a couple more weeks we'll get into actually how this actually works, but this is what we're going to be looping through. To actually see the output, let's go ahead and run it. This is what you're going to see. Let me scroll all the way up because there's a lot of different combinations here. So I have a red header that's up here, and then I'm identifying that I'm utilizing attribute 0, which is normal, with a foreground color of black. And then I'm basically identifying what the color code is. The background color is black, and then the background color is red, green, orange, blue, so you could see what the sample text is going to look like. And we're still at the normal. Now this time the foreground color is going to be red, and then it's going to cycle through all the combinations. So when it does this, this is going to be our nested loop. Let me bring the code over there. And then what we're going to do is take a look at what the syntax needs to be. As we continue with the code, this is my information that I'm assigning to the header, and then I'm printing out the header information here. And actually right here, this is basically where we're going to start the nested loop, and it's, believe it or not, just a couple lines of code. So our first line is going to correspond to the attributes. So I'm utilizing a variable I for the attribs here. And then we're going to indent because this is going to be a nested. So now I'm utilizing J for our range. And our range is going to be from 30 to 38. Because if we basically take a look at the syntax again here in the part, so from 30 to 38, these are the colors I'm going to. And you notice I'm going up to 38 even though this is 37, so I got to go one higher. And then I'm going to write another line. And this is going to be our print statement. So this is utilizing attribute so-and-so, and you notice that again it's indented. And that is corresponding to this line right here. So we're identifying what attribute it is. And then we're going to identify the foreground color. So we have another print statement to identify this particular line right here. Horizontal line. And that's going to be right there because that's going to correspond to that. And then we're going to indent, and we're going to do yet one more for loop. This time we're doing K, so IJK. Again, these don't matter because they're just going to be cycling through. And you notice that this is going to be the range from 40 to 48, and this is identifying the background color. So if we take a look at the information here, so we have from 40 to 47. Again, I got to utilize 48 because it's going to go up to 47, one less. And then here we're going to do one more indentation, and then this is the print statement that will write this entire line. So this is basically identifying what the color code is going to be. It's identifying what the background color is. So identifying what the background color is with this one. And then we're coming to this part, and this is what changes the color code with our sample text. So when we look at the information here, this is what it's all identifying right there. And that's it. Simple little loop for displaying the different color syntax.